Tell me when.
What you doing?
Making butter.
From what?
From cow's cream. It's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work. Man, it's nice out today. Goodness. Let me see that, son. Let me see that. How far are you? Still a lot of shaking to be done. You keep going. I got a contest for you.
Yeah?
I'll do Ask Homesteady. I'll answer as many questions until you make butter. How's that sound?
Sounds good.
We better go into the shade though, because you're gonna break your sweat over here. All right, this is Ask Homesteady Butter Churning Edition. My son is going to make butter. He has the cream in a ball jar and he is just shaking it. And we're gonna answer questions until butter's made. What do you think, kiddo?
Sounds good.
All right, it's kind of like a lightning round, so let's see how many questions we can get in. Hi, honey. We didn't have one big question for the week, so I picked again a bunch of just short, quick fire, and this will actually be like a lightning round. I have a lot of very easy questions to answer today, so let's dive right in. Tighten that lid. You've got a good head start here. You're getting there.
You should tighten it a little more.
I'm a baby hat.
A baby hat? Isn't that a baby hat? It's a new Homesteady beanie. You want my beanie?
Yeah. Beanie.
All right. Okay, this is Ask Homesteady, the weekly show we do where we answer your questions that you leave on the channel. And this week we're gonna answer a bunch of questions. If you use the hashtag AskHomesteady, all one word, I will find your questions and I will answer them on our weekly answer show. And I'm gonna answer as many as I can while my son makes butter. And once we have butter, we're gonna stop answering questions. The first question is about goats. Aditya asks, the world over, goat is the most popular meat animal. You've had goats in the past. Why is it you do not consider it for meat? Is it some firm or cultural barrier? So, great question, Aditya. We are actually big fans of goat meat. That was one of the reasons we got our dairy goats, Nubian goats. We got Nubian goats because we wanted dual purpose meat and milk goats. Didn't work out so great. Dairy goats we have decided are not right for our homestead. We will never get dairy goats again. But what about meat goats? We love goat meat. We actually just bought a bunch of goat meat and it was very, very expensive. We paid good money for it. So there's no cultural barrier.
Don't.
The only thing holding us back from getting just meat goats right now is the proper fencing and setup for meat goats. If we were to get goats in the future, we would want to make sure that we had a good high weedy, high browse area fenced in where they could eat the right kind of browse for their diet and with really good 5 or 6 strand high tensile fencing. So maybe someday we will have goats again. They will be meat goats. Next question. How's that butter coming? Let's see. Looks like I can answer another question. Careful, don't drop it. The next question we have today. Ask Homesteady, Mary wants to know, how old do the baby bunnies have to be before you can handle them? Mary, we don't have a specific age that we look for. With stuff like this, we like to let, you know, the animal kind of set the pattern for us. We kind of follow nature. So really what we do, when the bunnies are first born, they're put into that nest with a lot of fluff on top of them and they stay in the nest. So we don't really disturb them. We don't count them. We don't do a whole lot because we just want to decrease the chances that something could go wrong. What we do is once we notice the nest starting to be uncovered more and the bunnies start to kind of like peek out a little bit more, feel they get kind of covered over in that fur, then we kind of go pick them up, put them back in. After a couple weeks they start hopping around and then...
Need some more tightening.
Need some more tightening?
Yeah.
Then we're not afraid. Oh boy, you're getting close here. That's getting thick. Couple good
You
shakes.
didn't tighten it.
And you'll be good to go. So when we see the bunnies being exposed by mama and themselves more, then we feel confident in going in and checking them out. So let's do another one. Ask Homesteady, Colleen Burris, does cream flow on the milk like cow's milk? She's asking about camel milk. Ooh, it's sounding pretty solid. I can hear it. Let's take a look before we get into this next question. I think you're, oh, I see, oh, look at that. I see butter. At this point, is he done, right? Once there's that big yellow clump? I think that
all that
means,
liquid?
congratulations.
What about balls?
You just made butter. All right. Well, that means this will be the last question. Maybe I'll throw a bonus question in. That was pretty fast. So, does cream float on the top of camel milk? Yes, it does. But it is like the littlest tiny little layer. So you can, if you want to separate your cream from your camel milk, you have to use like a turkey baster or actually like a syringe to pull it off the top. Let's go inside and see how the butter turned out. Where's that butter? In a bowl. Hold on. Go ahead. Beautiful.
All that shaking paid off.
Good work, son.
You really stuck with that.
You sure did. I was impressed.
Alright, now we can...
Technically, he's not done making butter. He's got to wash the butter. So we'll answer a couple more questions while he continues finishing off the butter making.
Pour water in it.
Put it right down and slide it. Look at that beautiful butter. The next question we have was from Colleen. Nope, that was Colleen's question. Dean asked the next one. Austin, you've mentioned the volume of milk the jerseys produce on average. I can hardly see the writing here, but I'm curious, how much on average does that raw 1 gallon of milk weigh? I'm suspecting the raw milk may weigh differently to the processed, pasteurized, and homogenized milk available commercially. Great question, Dean. I've actually never measured it. I have a half gallon of raw cow milk sitting right here. Let's measure it and see. Okay, this is our tare. So let's put this on and tare. Oops. There we go. And here's a half gallon, and we'll just double it. So 3 pounds and 13.6 ounces for basically a half gallon. A gallon of milk is supposedly about 8 pounds, so raw milk does not weigh any more than the, you know, token 8-pound gallon of milk.
Grandma.
All right, we got a little bit more time. That butter's almost finished. A feminame? A feminame? Is that right? I saw you butchered 1 chicken without boiling water. I see it's not necessary, but does putting the carcass in boiling water make for easier feather hand plucking? We got a lot of people asking that question when they saw we butchered that 1 hen without doing the boiling water and dipping. Boiling water and then dipping your chicken in the hot water and then plucking definitely makes feather removal easier. There's no question. But the time it would take us to have boiled 1 pot of water, and then that was big enough to get the whole chicken in it, and then clean up that pot and all that, for 1 chicken it just does not make sense. For 5 chickens it would definitely make sense. For 3 chickens it probably makes sense. But for 1 chicken doing the pot of water thing, it's not that hard to hand pluck. So that's the, if we do more than 3 chickens, we're definitely going to do a pot of water. Becky asked, I finally have money for the camel train and it's done. Will you be offering something like this again? Darn it. Sorry, Becky. Will we ever do a camel train again? Probably not. Will we ever sell a lifetime membership to the Homesteady Pioneer program in the future? Probably. The whole reason we did that was because on our business end, we needed to raise a lot of capital to get started with our camel dairy. So in the future, should we have some big thing that we suddenly need a big influx of capital for, we'll probably do something like that again. It was a huge success. We sold it out in, well, we're not to day 50 yet, so in half the amount of time we were already sold out. I think almost in a third amount of the time we sold it out. So really successful. I'm so grateful to everyone who did join the Camel Train. But don't forget, if you like our show, you can still buy our shirts. You can still buy our Pioneer membership. You just can't get the lifetime with the shirt, the whole thing. Maybe again in the future. Speaking of the Homesteady Camel Train, we do have to do a Camel Train shout out today, and that shout out goes to Bam Bam. Bam Bam is from Loveland, Ohio. They love farm fresh eggs.
Me too.
And they love animals in general. Bam Bam says, we try to eat all natural items and support the people that do the good work. Sincerely, Jeff. So thank you so much, Bam Bam, Jeff, whoever you are, for joining the Camel Train. Your one-of-a-kind Camel Train t-shirt is on its way. Like we mentioned already, the Camel Train has sold out, but if you do want Pioneer access to all our extended interviews, classes, discounts on products you may be purchasing, click there to become a Pioneer. And don't forget, you can also buy Homesteady clothing if you want the clothes. Like this t-shirt is not available, but you can get Homesteady clothing. The description below, you'll find that. So now let's get back to answering questions. We got one more really good question for you. While they are working on the butter, I wanted to show you how nice our hydroponic Kratky plants are doing. They're all growing really, really well right here. I'm super excited. They're gonna be pretty soon. I mean, honestly, you could harvest that stuff right now. It's technically like baby greens, but I want to get a little bit more from them before we start harvesting. And I also need to start some new plants. If I had 100 of those, we could harvest all the baby greens and have a really nice, delicate salad. We have time for a couple more lightning round questions. This is like a true lightning round. I'm actually doing it today. Golf wants to know, do cows moo all the time, or is it because in this video they are uncomfortable with full milk udders? And Karen L, our cow specialist on the channel, she did answer back some great info, but I will answer about our cows. There's something on my camera lens. Our cows tend to moo when they are separated from their calves. They don't like to be separate, the cows and the calves. And so when we separate them for milking in the morning, the calves are like, moo, moo. They are yelling, wailing because they want to be with mama. They also tend to moo when they are in heat. Our girls, whenever they're coming into heat, they'll get a lot noisier. Moo! Those are the two main reasons our cows moo. And in these mornings when we're doing cow milking, you hear a ton of cow mooing because calves want to be with mama. As soon as they all get back together again, our cows are pretty quiet cows. So that's our cows. There are more reasons cows moo, which Karen L answered in the description, in the comments. Sorry, in the comments. So go ahead and read what Karen said.
A little bit, not too much.
I like a saltier butter.
All right.
I like a lot of salt. Oh, I wasn't even in the shot there. Salt, more salt. Abby wanted to know, do we have a waiting list for purchasing one of your calves? Perhaps in the future we will. This time around we did not need it. We had super fans of the show who were watching and were asking, hey, are you gonna sell a calf? I would love one of those calves. Hey, are you gonna sell a calf? I would love one of those calves. If you are a person who would love one of our mini jerseys and you let us know that a lot in the comments, we don't forget that. So when one does become available, we will reach out to our audience first, people that we feel are in a good position to take on one of these animals. And that's how it worked out with our grasshopper. So yeah, let us know if you're interested frequently, and you may find yourself getting an email from us when one arises. We don't have that many to sell though, so we don't have a waiting list or a website or anything like that right now. Maybe someday in the future.
This is when you want haze. Oh.
All right, let's give it a try.
You just want you're just gonna
I'd say more salt.
So you're gonna keep saying that so you get to keep taste testing.
It's possible. That means we have time for one more question. Wendy says, hashtag Ask Homesteady, 2 questions. How did you come up with such a great name for your homestead?
Oh.
Wendy, I'm assuming you mean Homesteady, because we don't have a name for our homestead here in PA. So if you're wondering how I came up with the name Homesteady, Homesteady is my definition of the word homesteady, it would be a word that describes a noun. What's that called?
Oh, you know.
Adjective?
Probably an adjective.
Adjective, right?
Not an adverb.
Adverbs describe verbs. So it's an adjective describing someone. Homesteady. You're not, we always joke about the old-timey homesteader who like lives in the woods and is 100% self-sufficient and does everything hardcore, and he's just like the old-timey homesteader. You're not that guy. You're not a farmer who raises, you know, a bunch of corn and a bunch of hay every year. You are, I'll wait till you're homesteady. You're trying to be more sustainable. You're trying to grow some of your food. You're learning as you go. You're getting better. You're making mistakes and not letting it stop you. You're focused on feeding your family, producing from your property, whether that's an apartment balcony or 10 beautiful acres on a ridge somewhere, or 100 acres of your family farm that you're managing. Wherever you are, you're trying to be more self-sufficient, a little bit more sustainable by growing food, harvesting wild food around you, and trying to get some energy off your property. The things that you need to survive, you're trying to produce it and harvest it from your homestead. Well, that's all the time we have for, because the butter is definitely done now. This was a good lightning round, and let's make sure of that. Oh yeah. It's time to put that on a muffin and enjoy it.